You feeling?
Tired, but obviously very satisfied, very happy because it was a tough game. We knew it would be a tough game. 8,000 fans here today to push us forward, and they did through all the game. It was incredible, their support. We could feel it through all the game, and it was a big part for us to try and push when things got hard, and we did it. And at the end, we got the result. I think they will have a safe. I hope they have a safe journey because happy, I think we will be for sure.
Plenty of happy faces in that stand. I tell you that. You mentioned it was tough. It was. In that first half, we've seen the frustration there, but you had to dig deep for each other to get that win. And what does that do for you as a squad now?
It doesn't have to do nothing, to be honest. As what have to understand that in certain moments, we will have to suffer. Well, if we suffer together, if we do it as a team, if we truly believe in each other, we can go through difficult things, as was today. But now the difficult part for us has to be that we have to understand that we have to do this week in, week out. And now, as the manager just said, not week in, week out, just in 3 days, we have to do it again. And we're going to play Southampton, last in the league. Everyone is really tired. You can try to find excuses or whatever. We have to take that away from us. We have to understand that now we have set a standard, and we have to keep this standard just getting higher, not lower.
And we are holders of the FA Cup, and we're through to the next round. What does that mean to you personally?
Oh, we want to go until the end again. We want to be at Wembley again. We want to go through that steps again, like we did it last season, and hopefully we're gonna get through all the rounds, and we're gonna get there. But obviously now our focus has to be already in Southampton. We know how important is this competition for the country and for the club, how massive it is, and we want to give it again to our fans, to ourselves, because we want to celebrate this season.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Your thoughts after that match? From the second half, it seemed to have everything, and eventually you were able to come out victorious on penalties.
Yeah, thankfully the players were there. They fight. What we talk about sometimes is not tactical, technical before the match. Is this? So we have to compete no matter what the situation, and we compete today. I think they had more chances, but I think we deserved the win. It's not Arsenal didn't deserve the lose, but we deserved the win. The way we play, the way we fight, was really tough since the beginning. We didn't have the ball too much, but we controlled without the ball. So I want also say thank you to the fans. It was unbelievable. I didn't understand that all that area was our supporters, so it was a good day for us. But now we have to rest the players. I'm already thinking in the next game. They are really tired, so we need to win. Let's see.
So Bruno Fernandes put your side ahead in the second half, and then Diego Dallo went off with the second yellow. Were you sensing that potentially there was, scope for Arsenal to really kind of push on from there? Were you confident that the players could withstand that?
Sometimes we have the feeling that everything in the end is going to be okay. I felt that since the beginning of the second half, even and after the penalty, I feel it, and I think also that the Arsenal team felt that maybe today is not their day. But I'm really pleased for the way they control the game without the ball. They defend very well. Set pieces, we were really strong. So, like I said, it was a good day. But now I'm thinking about the next game and worry about the next game.
And particularly your defence, considering the amount of opportunities that Arsenal had. Are you seeing that improving, especially after Liverpool last week as well?
Yes, because we were facing a great team, and then it was not just 90 minutes. Was more than that, and then you feel that the players are really tired. They put new players, they control the ball all the time, and then was like a sacrifice for my players. But like I said, we deserved to pass through this round because we suffered all together and we show character, and that's a very important thing.
And just a couple of final things, picking out two players in particular, goalkeeper Bayindir, second choice coming in and putting in a big performance, but also Joshua Zirkzee scoring the winning penalty, and I suppose the pressure that he has also been under.
Yeah, but he's a good guy. He works a lot, and then life has these beautiful things. A few weeks ago, we were suffering a difficult moment. Now he was like a game changer for us. You go through with the Joshua Zirkzee goal, and then also Altay. All the players in this team will have the opportunity, and they are lucky because they are playing for Manchester United. It doesn't matter if you play one game or 90 games. Is always a joy to play for this club.
And then finally, Leicester City at home.
Yeah.
Ruud van Nistelrooy back and everything.
I'm going to see Ruud. I talked with him before I came. I'm looking forward to speak with him. He's a class guy. But we need to win. Maybe we will be divided.
It's a big result for Manchester United. That deserve a lot of credit because you've got to remember they played much of that game with just 10 men.
Yeah, I think for their confidence, I said before about the manager mentioning their commitment to it. I think they've shown that now. I think the fact that they're not rotating as much as usual. When Amarin first come in, there was changing all sorts of different positions, sort of knowing who he could trust within the team. But now they look like a side that they've got loads more to improve on in terms of going forward. But as a structure, when they're going to that 5, they look real secure, and he'll be happy with that at least.
Yeah. Theo, on Arsenal, what do you think?
I mean, it's like everyone else has said before. You know, Arsenal probably need a striker at this moment in time because it would have been a completely different story, I feel, and even the season itself. But that's where it is right now for me.
And are through, defeating Arsenal 5-3 on penalties as they book a place in the 4th round. Where do you want to start here, Craig?
Well, we've had a little rub on Man United, but you know, I'm interested to see and hear what Arteta says after the game. You saw the expected goals there. I'm fed up hearing about expected goals and pressure, and that's not the story of the game if you watch the game, which is what he said against Newcastle. Lots of possession, but not a lot of clinical finishing in the final third. Guess what? We have the same story over and over and over again. It is so obvious for Arsenal. And yes, they're missing Saka. Yes, they're missing some key players, but they're still getting into those areas, but they're not punishing sides. And when you don't punish sides, you give them opportunity, hope, and a chance at the other end. And that's what happened here. You look at the stats in the Newcastle game, and then you go and look at the stats in this game, albeit United were down to 10 men. But you go and look at the stats, and they're probably going to be very similar. Possession, crosses, chances. But once again, Arsenal have come out in the wrong end. And when you don't have people up front that are good enough to take you to the next level, which I think is the case with Arsenal, Arsenal will remain to be bridesmaids and not the bride. I just believe that. I mean, penalty apart, this is a weekly occurrence here from Kai Havertz, right? And it's almost like I feel I'm talking about Kai Havertz every time Arsenal play and every time we're on the show. And it's not because I want to do it, but it's because he plays in such an important position and he misses so many big chances. Now, I don't care about this. Anybody can miss a penalty. And actually, it was a very, very, very good save from the Manchester United goalkeeper. But if you're going to challenge the Liverpools and the Cities for the Premier League, you need a player in the front line that is way more effective than this guy is. And I know there are people who, and obviously Arteta's one of them, he sort of can't see past them, it seems. And I know they don't really have many other options, but that's his choice. It's his choice. He's had transfer windows to address this. He hasn't done it. He's unlikely to do it in January, unless they panic. Maybe he will with the Jesus injury, I don't know. But what we do know is Chelsea were willing to sell the player because he wasn't prolific and consistent enough. And let's not forget, Arsenal buy him as a midfielder. That didn't work. So it was another mistake from Arteta. Now he plays him up front and he works hard and he runs and he's a good guy and he's got a great attitude. But in terms of being good enough for Arsenal to go to the next level, whether it be the FA Cup, the Champions League, or tracking this Liverpool team down, if they don't get a goal scorer in that position, they're not winning the Premier League. End of story.
Is that fair?
I think at this point it's fair to say that. You know, I've watched them for the last 6 months, and you kind of feel that we're waiting for the Arsenal of the previous 2 seasons to come out in them, and you know it's there. You know it's there in them, but obviously, you know, for whatever reason, this season we haven't seen it so far. And so at that point, you know, you have to either go into the market and freshen things up. we're missing big players at the moment. And listen, putting the ball in the back of the net is the hardest thing to do as a football player. It's very, very fine margins. And at the moment, those margins we're missing out on. And listen, it doesn't help that we go and play against Newcastle the week before, who have a striker that we're heavily linked with. It's January, the window's open, and then we come and play in the FA Cup against United. They go down to 10 men, we have so many chances, we can't score. All of these things coming in the same week, it doesn't help Mikel. It doesn't help Arteta at all. And it only highlights and sheds light on the fact that, they need firepower.
Mm-hmm. I'm not having this discussion about any player, if it's just 1 or 2 games. That would be ridiculous. But there's a pattern here, and there has been for a while. But he's not the only one. Marino, ineffective.
Yeah.
Gabriel, bit of a mistake for the Jesus goal, for the Fernandes goal. Tries to be too clever with the header on the halfway line, gets caught out. Declan Rice missing chances when he comes off the bench, an easy header should have. So there are many other factors, but that's the biggest one. I think the biggest one for me, because when everybody's fit, the back four will take care of itself. Young Lewis Skelly's a good player, Calafiore's a good player, Timber's a good player, centre halves are strong, keeper's been strong for the most part. Midfield can be strong when everybody's fit. It's up here. That's where there's a gaping problem.
I think that's where the frustration comes from, is because it took Mikel a while to really build a framework and get the club back to challenging for the title, and you're so close, and it must have been agonising last year to have missed out on a point or two, and when you feel that close and you just miss out. And you realise that there's just a couple of pieces, two maximum pieces to complete the puzzle. That's where the frustration comes from, and I think that's what we're seeing now, and where the pressure is going to mount.
But you have to be ruthless, don't you, as a manager? These guys have done well for me, but we have to make a decision here. Where's the money need to be spent? Yeah. I'm sorry, but you're going to be a squad player because we're going to go in the market for this guy who's prolific.
And how long's Jesus out for as well is another question after we saw him go down.
Yeah, but we just don't know what that injury is. I mean, it looks so innocuous. But so these are all the questions for Arteta. But on the other side of the coin, it's been a brilliant story because Bruno Fernandes was a player who was getting sent off and he's disciplined. And was he a leader for them? Well, you have to say, and this is only a small sample, because we know he's a good player. We know that. But his attitude and his performances in the Liverpool game and in this game, I think, dragged the team along.
For the draw, and that's the excitement of the FA Cup, getting drawn against obviously teams that you might not really play against if you're a team in the Football League. So it's exciting all round. But our main focus is obviously winning football matches and making sure the levels that we've been showing in the last 2 games are continued. And listen, if we show that here at Old Trafford, where we've, in teams where we've, Forest, Bournemouth, we've had them games where we've not been at our best. But we need to make sure, like the last 2 games, they're the levels, and that's the benchmark you set.
The challenge for these players now is to replicate that here on Thursday night against Southampton, right?
Well, it's to do that at home. We've not really done that yet.
Yeah.
And the away games in that sense can be a little bit easier because you're expected to step up a little bit, but now it's about doing it on the home pitch and giving that same commitment all over.
And is it different when, like today at Anfield, we're much more defensive? Here against Southampton on Thursday, we'll be expected to be on the front foot.
You're expected to go and win the game and blow Southampton out the water, but as I said many times, teams come here and obviously the fear factor has gone in a little bit of a way, so we've got to get that fear factor back when they come to these places. But that starts with doing the right things, doing the basics right, desire, fight, passion. And your quality will come out in the end, because obviously you're playing for Man United. You're a high quality player to play for this football club. So it starts with the fundamentals, and if we can do that, there's no reason why we can't turn these teams over that come to Old Trafford.
Hey, it's been a great week, hasn't it, for United? The draw at Anfield, a draw at Arsenal, ultimately winning on spot kicks and progressing to round 4. Right, stay with us after the break. We'll be in matchday review. There we'll hear from the manager and a couple of our players. 5-4 on penalties. United next play Leicester City in round 4. Welcome to matchday review. With me, Phil Barsley and Wes Brown, who just as happy and delighted with me as anyone who is a United fan will be right now. Wes, it was a really good result considering we played for so long with 10. The effort, the application, the determination, the resilience was there for everyone to see once more.
Yeah, it was, and listen, we knew we wanted to continue what we did at Liverpool, and you know, once we got down to 10 men, you're thinking that's not impossible, but it's going to be very hard. But you give credit to the players, all the players that came on, they stuck to the task and knuckled in, ran their hearts out. You know, the manager made some good subs who did exactly the same. The keeper got us out of trouble as well, redeemed himself from maybe the Tottenham game, and it was just a great display. And once you get it down to penalties, as you know, anything can happen, but we kept our cool and slotted all ours away, and that's all you can hope for.
Manchester United held on for an hour with 10 men to force a penalty shootout against Arsenal in the FA Cup third round. United started quite well, controlling the majority of the opening minutes of play and demonstrating some good pressing out of possession. The opening 10 minutes passed by without much action occurring, as both teams seemed happy to get a feel for the match and the occasion. In the 17th minute of action, the game burst into life when Gabriel Martinelli was put in after a deflected pass, and he made no mistake, coolly slotting home. Luckily for United, the linesman eventually put up his flag and the scoreline remained scoreless. It was yet another petulant response by United's number 8, who has faced numerous complaints about his discipline this season as he has been sent off 3 times already. The first half ended with Ruben Amorim probably the happier of the two managers, but with both teams knowing they had a lot more to show in an attacking sense. The second half started with the Gunners once again in possession, but after 49 minutes, Diogo Dalot dived in and gave Arsenal a dangerous-looking free kick from just outside the penalty box. It was once again dealt well with by Maguire. The travelling fans went into raptures shortly after when on the 52nd minute, Bruno Fernandes fired the away side into the lead. Alejandro Garnacho broke away from Gabriel and picked the right pass to United's captain, who hit a beautiful strike into the back of the net. The away side almost gave away an immediate equaliser when Maguire headed the ball right into the path of Kai Havertz, but he widely fired wide of the mark. Disaster struck for United when Dalot was sent off for a second yellow card, and only moments later they conceded an equaliser. It was a tackle Dalot didn't need to make in spite of his protests, and United were punished when a poor punch by Bayender eventually fell to Gabriel, who fired in an equaliser, with a helpful deflection from De Ligt. United now knew they would face the rest of the tie with only 10 men. Their afternoon turned even worse when Maguire was harshly judged to bring down Havertz in the penalty area. There was little sign of contact and the German seemed to go down under very little pressure. Justice was eventually done, however, as Bayender stretched out his huge frame to parry away Odegaard's penalty, and wild celebrations broke out in the United team, especially from the under-fire Turkish keeper. Clearly full of confidence, Bayender was the hero once again as he tipped a free header from Declan Rice over the bar at full stretch after 75 minutes of play. United made a triple change with only 10 minutes left to play as Amad Diallo, Toby Collier and Joshua Zirkzee made their way onto the pitch to add more energy for the 10 men. In the 86th minute, Zirkzee showed good skill to break away on the counter and he released Amad Diallo, who played the ball almost immediately back, but the big Dutchman's shot was well blocked by the Arsenal defence. Almost right after, Odegaard played a great ball in and everyone missed the ball as it fell to Havertz. Once again the former Chelsea man fluffed his lines as he somehow scooped the ball over from close range to give United another let-off. Bayender was the hero once more as in the 94th minute he made a smart save down low to turn away a goal-bound Declan Rice effort. United held on to see out a 1-1 draw despite playing most of the second half with one man less, and the game went to extra time. For minutes into extra time, Arsenal were in again, but De Ligt slid in to make a sensational block from Rice's fierce effort. United fans had their hearts in their mouths once again when Havertz was played in and put the ball across the 6-yard box, but De Ligt heroically managed to clear the ball from right under his own crossbar to keep the scores level. Amorim's men broke well at the start of the second half and Amad drove at the defence and played in Zirkzee, whose well-placed shot was stopped acrobatically by the Spanish keeper. Arsenal continued to have much of the ball, but the United defence stood firm and the game went to a penalty shootout. Bayender was the hero once again as he stopped the decisive penalty in the shootout from Havertz. In a lovely finish, Xerxes had the chance to be the hero, and he coolly converted United's 5th successive penalty to secure an epic victory that will live long in the memory.